ABC 13 Eyewitness News this morning. Now, breaking news.
2 police officers hurt in a crash during a chase on the South Loop. All the westbound lanes are closed at Cullens, still are. You're looking at that TransStar camera right there. It doesn't show the crash, but again, that will affect the morning commute. The officers who were hurt, we've got their conditions and some ways to get around the accident in minutes.
All right, and this dangerous heat has been unrelentless across southeast Texas. Another round of heat advisories intact. I'll have the latest on the timing straight ahead.
Plus, what happens if you can't tell the difference between the flu and COVID-19? We've got the one thing you can do to make sure hospitals aren't overwhelmed this fall.
All right, it's 5 a.m. on this Tuesday morning, and good morning to all of you. I'm Tom Cook.
And I'm Erica Simon, back in for Sam today. Hope your Tuesday's off to a great start. Let's get you checked in now with meteorologist Alita Oreska.
All right, first time in a long time that the National Weather Service had to extend the excessive heat warning. There was an excessive heat warning yesterday along the immediate coastline. This morning, another heat advisory. That excessive heat warning because those feels-like temperatures were in the mid-110, so 113 to 117 yesterday, down toward Galveston. Inland areas, anywhere between 108 to 113. We're looking at another round of dangerous heat this afternoon. I think by the end of the week, we get the return of some rain showers, also more clouds, so that should help at least break up that dangerous heat levels. Those heat index values won't be quite as high. This morning, temperatures are starting off in the low 80s. Houston right now starting off with 84 with a feels-like temperature in the mid-90s. 96, the feels-like temperature at Bush Airport. Pearland, you're starting off with 97. 103 in Galveston, 98 in Winnie. Again, as I mentioned, we're headed in that 106, 113 category by this afternoon. As far as any cooling rain showers, unfortunately, most of the rain and thunderstorms stay off to the west and to the north. There will be a complex of storms that we'll be monitoring later on tonight that may clip some of our far northwestern counties. We're talking from College Station, north of the Conroe area, but for us, less than a 20% chance for rain today. We'll see a little bit more cloud cover, though, with temperature readings hovering right around 99 to 100 around the Houston area, but we may have some relief on the way. We'll have to wait 10 days for the possibility of our first September cool front. I'll have those details coming up.
All right, let's go to that breaking news. This is 2 Houston police officers injured in that crash during an overnight chase. Police say 6 men were trying to break into a Fiesta Mart on the South Loop in Makawa. An officer saw it happening and began chasing them. And while that chase went down the South Loop, another officer lost control. He and his partner crashed, both taken to the hospital, but both are okay. Here's a live look now. That again is the South Loop near MLK, so the accident, it looks like it has cleared. Apparently all 6 men who tried to break into that store bailed out and ran. They caught just 2 of them. Police are now looking for 4. The freeway, as I said, just opened minutes ago. And Jeff Elan, that's good news for the morning commute.
Boy, it really is. We were monitoring this accident ever since it happened this morning. We wanted to make sure that it was going to be cleared. It was going to take about an hour or so to do the investigation. That has now wrapped up. Let's go ahead and take a look at where it happened on the maps. You can see this actually took place at 610 at MLK. The alternate route would have been Belfort, but as you mentioned on the jam cams, it is completely clear now. It just cleared about 5 minutes ago, maybe even less than that, and even the backup is clear now. But that doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet, because there is another trouble spot we've got to get to. This is on I-45 North at Airtex. This is an 18-wheeler accident. There's a fuel spill. You can see exactly how many lanes are blocked. There's 1 lane getting by right now. So if you're coming in from the north side, be very, very careful. Give yourself some extra time, because this accident is going to be there for a while they clean up the fuel spill. All right, now let's take a look at your drive times. Not too bad if you're coming in from Baytown right now. Just 16 minutes, 21 from the Katy Freeway. Erica?
Thanks, Jeff. All right, let's get you caught up with the latest COVID-19 headlines. August is set to be the 3rd deadliest month on record in the United States. But as tests have fallen, the number of cases have also dropped. According to Johns Hopkins University, there are more than 6 million cases in the U.S., with more than 183,000 people dead. But there is some good news. Here in Texas, we're seeing a decrease in hospitalizations. The numbers have been in the 4,000s for a week now, down from the peak of 10,000 hospitalizations just a month ago.
With flu season just a month away, health officials want to remind everyone to get a flu shot this year. ABC 13's Bree Berry joins us live now to explain why it's more important than ever this year. Bree?
Tom, that's just it. Health officials are saying, of course, we're dealing with this ongoing pandemic. That is at the forefront, on the top of our minds. But that doesn't mean you can let that flu vaccine just escape your mind. So we know that the peak flu season is between October and February, and that means now is the time to start planning your flu shot. The goal is to prevent another hospital surge as COVID-19 still at the forefront without a vaccine. Now, while all signs are pointing to a milder flu season with people already taking precautions, Baylor College of Medicine Dr. Pedro Piedra says not thinking about the flu could be a big mistake.
The influenza outbreak is likely to come later. Exactly when, it's always unpredictable. And it's going to be even more so with the SARS-CoV-2 pandemic ongoing.
Now, I know a concern that many of you have that Dr. Piedra actually addressed is saying that you shouldn't skip your flu shot because you're too timid about going to your physician's office during this pandemic. He says if you're practicing the things that you need to be, as long as you create that appointment early enough, there should be no concern there, and it will only benefit all of us as a whole. Now, coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk about a piece of advice that medical experts are sharing ahead of flu season and also the pandemic, a way to keep all of us safe. So we'll have that for you at 6 o'clock. Stay with us. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Bree. Well, Memorial Hermann just updated its visitor policy. It is now allowing 1 visitor per patient per day at its acute care facilities, including Tier Memorial Hermann. Children's Memorial Hermann will allow 2 adult visitors per patient per day. Visitors must complete an online pre-screening form before getting there and show confirmation of it. You will also have your temperature taken prior to entering the building. Memorial Hermann's outpatient facilities will continue to enforce a no visitor policy. New this morning, a local school district is trying to assure parents that a kindergartner who tested positive for COVID-19 likely did not spread the virus. ABC 13 reporter Charlie Etzedy joins us now with the school's response. Charlie?
Yeah, good morning to you, Erica. The school district, Clear Creek ISD, says that this kindergartner did not come into close contact with any staff or students before being sent home yesterday. And so let's get to the information that we know about this situation right now this morning. A letter was sent home to parents at Ross Elementary School, and it states the kindergartner did test positive for COVID-19 and was on campus for in-person learning yesterday for a short period of time before being sent home. Now, the area and the classroom where this student was has been properly cleaned, and the district says the student did not come into close contact with any other staff or students. What we don't know is what kind of symptoms this student was showing before somebody realized there was a health issue. That information was not disclosed by the district. Now, Clear Creek ISD has implemented safety measures to slow the spread of COVID-19, such as masks, social distancing, hand washing, and deep cleaning. They say all these measures are going to continue, and it's situations like this. When a student tests positive for COVID-19, it now must be reported to the Texas Department of State Health Services so that it can be tracked. The Texas Education Agency says this information will be posted publicly, and they are asking schools to start reporting weekly the number of cases on campus. And this is not the only system that is being created right now to track cases in schools. The Texas American Federation of Teachers will also be creating their own data system as well.
I believe that they are going to have that system available, partially because I think that we're also going to have our own system available. We're going online next week with a crowdsourced COVID tracker that's going to list every school in the state of Texas.
All right, and as for the TEA system that's going to be tracking in schools, I checked the website this morning, and it sounds like those numbers and that information could be available as soon as October. And as for what's going on here, Clear Creek ISD is reminding everybody to continue to self-monitor for symptoms of COVID-19, which includes fever, chill, cough, shortness of breath, or difficulty breathing. We're live from League City. Charlie Etzedy, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Charlie. The Astros Foundation wants to help parents who are dealing with at-home learning. So the foundation is offering free online support sessions to help parents learn technology. Socially distanced sessions are also being held at the new Bob Watson Education Center. That's at the Astros Youth Academy on Victory Drive. Now, they'll be on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m. So 3 sessions a day on those days. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, there's just one session. It's at 10 a.m. Now, the sessions are offered in both English and Spanish. You have to register. Just go to astros.com/AYA.
Starting today, the city of Houston will start accepting donations for survivors of Hurricane Laura. You can drop off donations at the GRB Convention Center, Gallery Furniture on the North Freeway, and Kroger stores from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. They're looking for diapers, cleaning supplies, personal hygiene items, non-perishable food, bottled water, and pet food and supplies. The Harris County Sheriff's Office will also collect donations. They're looking for hand sanitizer, masks, roofing and electrical supplies, and food and drink and household supplies. They also ask that you do not bring clothes, perishable food, or furniture. You can donate from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Cypresswood, Humble, Wallaceville, Clay Road, and Tomball substations. To learn more about where to donate, what is needed, or even how to make some monetary donations, go to abc13.com.
All right, to the Lotto Texas jackpot. It's the largest than it's been in more than 10 years. $36.75 million is up for grabs on Wednesday night. There has only been one winner this year, which is why the jackpot has ballooned. So the drawing tomorrow night for almost $37 million.
All right, come on. I'm gonna pony up the kitty. I'll go to the store and buy some tickets. All right, weather-wise for today, a lot of heat to talk about. More heat on the way this afternoon. Temperature readings this morning are starting off in the low to mid 80s. Unfortunately, just no relief as far as rain is concerned. Less than a 20% chance you'll encounter a rain shower or downpour. The feels like temps today, 106 to 113, but there could be some relief in the way of rain later on this week. I'll have those details coming up.
Some schools that are back to in-person learning are lacking school nurses. Our 13 Investigates report is coming up.
Well, while some students are returning to in-person school learning, some schools really have no school nurses, even during this pandemic.
That might worry some parents. Well, our 13 Investigates team and reporter Ted Oberg went looking for the schools where children are left unprotected.
Good morning. You know, before we started looking into this, I sort of assumed that all schools come with school nurses, but they don't. Not in Texas. There's no law or requirement that schools even have one here. Some share, others don't have one at all. Now, with COVID still rampant in our community, nurses are called on to do an awful lot more. So we asked them, what do you as a parent need to ask your school leaders about a nurse on campus?
I think they should be asking the school, what are you doing to help my child stay safe during the day?
You need to ask the principal, is there a full-time, 5-day-a-week registered nurse on your campus? If they say no, ask them why not. Why don't you have one? A lot of times you'll hear it's a matter of budget.
Is there a registered nurse on my child's campus all day, every day? That is the question.
And if the answer is no?
If the answer is no, the question then becomes why not? And who is there? Who are you using?
Sometimes medical duties are left to a clerk or an aide, sometimes without any medical training at all. So where are the gaps? They're mostly in Houston. It's not every school. We've got them all mapped. It's online. The link right there, plus on the top of my Twitter feed. We'll see you soon.
Noon highs yesterday were in the upper 90s, nowhere close to any records, but where we were breaking records were during the early morning hours as those temperatures struggled to cool off. This morning, we're seeing a carbon copy, really, in the low to mid 80s right now with a light breeze coming in out of the south. The heat index values this afternoon comparable to yesterday, anywhere from 106 to 113. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you along our coastal communities exceeded that 113. Just know that, again, you want to limit a lot of that outdoor activity once we get into that peak heating of the day. All of the moisture really locked up to our north and out toward our west. However, some of our computer models are painting out one of these outflow boundaries, or a little piece of that energy pushing pushing into our area. That's why parts of our northwestern counties are highlighted for an isolated threat of some heavy rain and maybe even some localized street flooding in the northern parts of the Brazos Valley. So quickly, I want to show you future track. Not much action throughout the morning or afternoon. It's during the evening, the overnight hours, where we're going to be monitoring the radar to see if any of these thunderstorms that are blossoming across central and north Texas actually gets pushed in our direction. We'll have more on your 10-day and the possibility of our first fall front coming up.
Well, before we take you to a break, let's take a look at our back-to-school photos from you, our viewers, showing how kids are adapting to virtual learning. Send us your photos and videos of the kids at home or going back to school in person on Twitter and Instagram. We'll get them here on the air.
Rockets with the shot clock off. And a turnover as Russell Westbrook, another giveaway.
Houston Rockets losing Game 6 to the Oklahoma City Thunder last night, 104-100, and that will force a Game 7 tomorrow night. A winner-take-all matchup tomorrow to determine who goes on to face the Los Angeles Lakers in the second round. Come on, Rockets.
Get it together. Yeah. Oh, but we believe they will. Well, to baseball now. We're still waiting to learn if the Stros will be taking on the Rangers tonight. The team is still awaiting COVID-19 test results after a member of the Oakland A's organization tested positive, canceling Sunday's game between the two teams. If they play tonight, this will be the first time the Astros take on their in-state opponent this season. First pitch is set for 7:10 p.m. The Astros are currently second in the AL West.
Quick, how many days until Christmas? If you guessed 115, you're right.
Close enough.
Yep, this year the holiday is going to be unlike any other thanks to COVID-19, and our Jeff Ealing explains what that means for everybody. So to shop now or not to shop now, that is the question.
It is the question. The answer is probably go ahead and shop now. It means you really do need to get started earlier than ever. There are a lot of things consumers need to know about the holidays that could have a huge impact, and yes, hard to believe, but time's starting to run out. The first thing to keep in mind is the availability of some items. The supply chain not back to pre-COVID days, so electronics may be harder to find if you wait. So for those types of gifts and popular gifts, buying sooner rather than later is going to be in your best interest. Next, stores might not be equipped to handle crowds. If you usually spend days combing through stores, combing through the aisles to find the right gift, you might want to change that habit this year by making a full list and then going to a store maybe just one time for your shopping. And if you shop online, something else you need to consider, how long is it going to take to get your presents to your house or wherever you might be shipping them, since more of us than ever are shopping online. And finally, retailers really don't know what to expect as far as sales go, and that could be another potential problem.
And that makes inventory planning hard because the retailers don't want to have all out of stock conditions where consumers can't get what they want, but they also don't want to have leftover inventory that they have to mark down and lose revenue on.
So all of this points to early shopping. The earlier you get started on holiday shopping, the easier it's going to be for you to find what you really want. Yulita?
You had me at early shopping, Mr. Ealing. All right. Weather-wise for today, another heat advisory in effect for all of southeast Texas starting at 9 o'clock this morning and continuing through the evening hours. Right now, we've got a mainly cloud-free sky. Temperature-wise, we've dropped off in the mid-80s. Yesterday, Bush Airport official high of 99. No broken records there, but a lot of our airports, one of them, Galveston, those overnight lows were so warm, breaking those records. 87 degrees right now with a feels-like temperature of 103. Now, this heat ridge that has been keeping us in this very hot pattern will eventually start to push away, and that's going to allow some moisture to return, but not until the latter part of this week. We reintroduce chance for some rain on Thursday, about 20%, 30% for Friday and Saturday. Hopefully, that chance for rain will be going up depending on the moisture that moves in. Most of the moisture today stays well up to the north, as well as the severe weather threat. However, there will be a pocket of showers and thunderstorms that start to develop later on this evening. So there is a chance that some of these storms, you can see it with future track, get blown in our direction, especially in some of our far northwestern counties. A lot of this is going to be happening while you're sleeping, maybe up toward the Brazos Valley. But a couple of fronts here on the map, one of which could impact us in the way of rain. That will arrive on Friday, getting close enough to our northern counties where we're going to see a lot of this moisture in the Gulf getting pooled across southeast Texas. This is going to help drop the temperatures, but also bring the return of some wet weather. So we've increased the rain chances. They're going up, so they're going in the the right direction. We're hopefully we can continue to add more widespread rains. And then looking ahead to next week, notice what we've got in the text there. Cool front. I know it's a question mark, but our computer models are indicating that this heat that we've been enduring the last several days is eventually going to back away. Cooler air diving down from Canada could be pushing into our area across the Lone Star State, where highs by next Thursday, this is 10 days out, in the 70s and 80s. I know it's not a slam dunk, low confidence in that, but I'm hopeful, and hopefully you are too. We'll be back on the other side of the break. Don't go away.
ABC 13 Eyewitness News This Morning starts now.
Lots of help is still needed after Hurricane Laura slammed southeast Texas and southwest Louisiana. Houstonians are now stepping up to assist. We're going to tell you some of the different ways you can help.
Plus, giant voting centers are being set up right here in Houston for the November election. We'll tell you about more plans for Energy Park and the Toyota Center voting.
And the legal fight over mail-in ballots in Harris County starts as the Texas Attorney General files a lawsuit against the Harris County clerk.
And it is now 5:30 on this Tuesday morning. Good morning to all of you. I'm Tom Cook.
Good to see you. I'm Erica Simon in for Samika today. Alita.
Yes, ma'am.
Alita.
I know. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. I know it. I know it. Unfortunately, we've got more dangerous heat to talk about. Peak heat index values yesterday reached over 115 degrees, the feels like temperature down along the island. Today, we're going to see pretty much a carbon copy between 106 to 113. Where you live right now, though, temperatures have dropped off, although not as much as we'd like. Temperature readings are starting off in the upper 80s in Galveston, low 80s in Wharton, Conroe, and College Station. You can see those feels like temperatures in the 80s or 90s already, triple digits. Galveston down from 106 about an hour ago down to 101. So you're heading in the right direction. Unfortunately, over the next couple of hours, that's just going to increase. Storms staying well up to the north, but we could see a complex of storms diving from the south toward the south in our northwest counties later on tonight. So we're going to be monitoring that for this afternoon and evening hours. Today, less than a 20% chance of rain with highs topping out in the upper 90s. We'll show you the rest of Future Track, including what's in store for the weekend, coming up in just a few minutes. Jeff.
Elita, they're keeping me busy this morning over here in traffic. We've been monitoring an accident involving an HPD officer on the South Loop. That has cleared, but there's a problem coming up on the North Freeway. That's Airtex. You see it right there. That is an 18-wheeler and a van. It's blocking at least 3 lanes. There's 3 lanes getting by now. That's been there most of the morning. There's going to be an extensive cleanup involved with this. So if you're coming in from the north side, give yourself some extra time finding an alternate route. Gulf Freeway at Edgebrook, no problems so far this morning. Let's take a look at some of your drive times coming in from the Woodlands. 22 minutes, 16 minutes from Sugarland and Pearland. You take the cake today. 8 minutes into downtown.
All right, we begin with this breaking news. In the last 15 minutes, a 17-year-old was charged with murder after shooting and killing his 23-year-old sister, according to police. It all began with a fight between that victim and her mother at the family home in Hockley about 8 o'clock last night.
A verbal altercation between the suspect and her mother that escalated to a physical confrontation, which escalated to the shooting.
That woman was shot in the chest. 17-year-old Jonathan Ambrose is now booked in jail.
New this morning, a man was murdered outside Studio Movie Grill in southeast Houston. Police say at least 20 shots were fired. The man apparently had gotten a call to meet someone at the theater around 9:30 last night. When he got there, at least 2 people opened fire when he got out of his car, then drove off. Police believe it was a setup. Now to one of our top stories on ABC 13. We're learning new details about the murder of a 9-month-old baby. This is tough for any parent or anybody for that matter to hear. Savannah Mason was found unresponsive a week ago at an apartment on West Park and Addicts Clodine. She was taken to the hospital where the sweet baby was pronounced dead. According to the Harris County Sheriff's Office, the baby's autopsy determined she had been sexually assaulted and died due to asphyxiation during the assault. Today, her father, 23-year-old Luis Luna, is set to appear in court. Only ABC 13 was there yesterday as he was taken into court. He has been charged with capital murder. Child Protective Services tells us they had no previous cases with this family and no other children are involved. Sheriff Ed Gonzalez tweeted, quote, "Heartbreaking, worst type of cases. May this little angel rest in peace."
Now to the latest on the recovery for Hurricane Laura victims. Thousands of people in Texas and Louisiana still need our help. ABC 13 reporter TJ Parker is breaking down the things you can do to help them today. TJ, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Tom. Yeah, a lot of people in Southeast Texas and Louisiana do need our help. And this is really great because anytime something like this happens, like a Hurricane Laura especially, Houstonians step up. In just a few hours here at the George R. Brown Convention Center, donations will be accepted to give to those in Louisiana and Southeast Texas who are hit hard by Hurricane Laura. The mayor's Health Equity Response Task Force is partnering with Kroger, Gallery Furniture, and the Relief Gang to collect things like cleaning supplies, personal hygiene items, non-perishable food, bottled water, and pet food and supplies.
We now have an opportunity to pay it forward and help others, but for the grace of God, there go I. It could have been us.
The volunteer turnout has been fantastic. The donations have been great.
Yeah, again, this is really great. If you would like to help out, take a look at your screen. You can drop up donations here at the George R. Brown Convention Center from 9 to 4 today. Kroger will also have collection boxes at each of their locations, as well as Gallery Furniture off the North Freeway. A number of churches have also started distributions and are actually going to start donating or sending those donations out as early as today. We saw Lakewood Church send stuff over the weekend. So, guys, it's just really great to see whenever there is a big hurricane or anything like this, to see Houstonians step up like they are now. We're live downtown. I'm TJ Parker, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
TJ, thank you. Well, you may soon notice a larger paycheck. The president's executive order to defer payroll taxes starts today.
But you have to pay those taxes back when tax time arrives next April. So your paycheck will probably be lower next year. Now, the tax deferral isn't automatic. It's actually up to individual companies about whether they'll stop taking money out of your paychecks. The Social Security and Medicare taxes are typically about 7.25% of your earnings. If your employee defers your taxes, the average worker will see a paycheck increase of only $1,200 over 4 months. And get this, if you don't pay it back by April, you'll be hit with stiff penalties and interest. President Trump has indicated he wants to make that tax cut permanent, meaning people wouldn't have to pay it back if he could do that, but he cannot do that on his own. It would require an act of Congress to make it permanent. With Republicans controlling the Senate and Democrats controlling the House, experts say that will not happen at all.
Now to the coronavirus pandemic. It is a crucial day for the country's largest school district. A teacher strike could be in the future due to concern over safety protocols.
And while parents and teachers are focusing on school, something is new to focus on. ABC's Mona Korsar Abdi has the latest.
This morning, the U.S. Open underway and under wraps.
I have more matches under my belt with no fans than I do with fans.
Competitors and coaches now living in a bubble in 2 hotels. No fans in the stadium, and players facing a grueling testing schedule after Benoit Paire was forced to withdraw.
You know, it is unfortunate we had a player test positive yesterday, but it's not unexpected.
Just a few miles away, a brewing battle over classes reopening in the nation's largest school district. New York City teachers threatening to vote as early as today on whether to go on strike for the first time in nearly 50 years amid concerns about COVID safety protocols.
We'll know shortly over the next couple of days if we're going to have a major war.
In Massachusetts, these teachers refusing to enter their school during preparations for the students' return, instead working outside on picnic tables and beach chairs. Their school committees now pursuing legal action against them. As for schools already online,
you're going to see your teacher on Monday morning. You're going to engage with your teacher every day during a regular schedule.
New concerns about some kids getting left behind. Photos of children searching for internet service and drawing national attention, including this photo of kids sitting in a Taco Bell parking lot for the free Wi-Fi. Despite a drop in daily coronavirus cases, deaths are on the rise in 25 states. In Detroit, the city's nearly 1,000 victims honored Monday with special funeral processions, along with hundreds of billboards showing the faces of those lost. But in Texas this morning, a symbol of hope.
I thought that only my baby was going to survive. I didn't think I was.
A mother giving birth to a healthy baby just 2 months after battling the virus. She credits a plasma donation and her daughter for her incredible recovery.
She's my motivation. she kept me going. I didn't want to lose my baby.
Mona Kosar Abdi, ABC News, New York.
As we enter another month into the pandemic, nonprofit Baker Ripley is doing what it can to feed families. They're hosting several food giveaways this month. The first one is today at the Pasadena Convention Center on Fairmont Parkway. Tomorrow they'll do it at the M.O. Campbell Education Center on Aldine Bender Road. Both events start at 11 a.m. You're asked to stay in your car and volunteers will place the food in your trunk. 4 more distributions are planned for later this month.
The United States Department of Agriculture has extended its meal waiver program through December 31st. That means parents can pick up meals from schools and bring them home for their kids. It's just like the summer meal program. Congress has not yet approved funding to extend it beyond December.
Well, your voice, your vote. This year, voters are getting the chance to drive through and cast their ballot. On November 3rd, NRG Park will serve as a polling location. They'll have both in-person voting and drive-through voting for early voting on October 13th through 30th, and then on Election Day on November 3rd. Another large-scale polling location will be set up at the Toyota Center downtown. The Harris County Clerk says the arena will give voters plenty of space to spread out, and drive-through voting will be available there as well.
Well, the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has filed a lawsuit against the Harris County Clerk over mail-in ballots. Now, the Harris County Clerk, Chris Hollins, has responded saying, in part, if the Secretary of State would take the time to meet with us instead of jumping into court, he would see that the information we plan to share with voters provides clarity about voters' rights and the eligibility to vote by mail. Last week, the clerk announced plans to send mail-in ballot applications to all registered voters in Harris County. The Attorney General, Paxton, claims that would be confusing. He claims only people older than 65, those who are disabled, and those who will be out of the county or in jail on Election Day can vote by mail.
The Walt Disney World Resort is modifying the reopening schedule for one of its popular hotels. The Polynesian, which has been closed since mid-March, was scheduled to reopen in October after being postponed from an August reopening date. It will remain closed until next summer. The delay will allow Disney to complete refurbishments at the resort, including enhancements to the Great Ceremonial House and guest rooms. Disney World started a phased reopening of its hotels in June, nearly a month before its theme parks reopened. Disney is the parent company of us here at ABC 13.
All right, 5:42. Let's check on a couple of more, 7 more days of heat before
the countdown's on.
I know, it's
We've got some rain back in the forecast by the end of the week, so that should drop temperatures back down into the mid-90s. Yes, a little bit better, and that should also help alleviate, the dangerous heat index values. But today we still have a heat advisory, triple-digit temperatures and triple-digit heat index values. I'll go over this and also the possibility of that rain returning later on this week coming up in my full forecast.
Okay, well, the pandemic is making life stressful for a lot of you working or learning from home. We feel your pain. Don't worry, we're going to help you get through it with some tips on how to strike a good balance.
Tonight at 10, can you believe it's been 15 years since Hurricane Katrina? We're taking a closer look at how that event helped Houston's medical community learn to pull together and prepare for future hurricane seasons. Join us tonight at 10.
If you're just waking up, let's get you caught up with your fast feed at 5. TikTok could announce plans to sell its U.S. operations as early as today. Microsoft wants to partner with Walmart in the buyout. Oracle's also a top contender. Sales price maybe $30 billion, but that sale could face new hurdles. China's government says it must approve it, and the U.S. has given TikTok's parent company, which is called ByteDance, until September 20th to sell its American stake. The Houston Zoo will remain closed today because of a power outage. The zoo has been running on generators since early Sunday morning. Crews are trying to get the power restored, but they say all of the animals are fine and being taken care of. If you have tickets for today, you can reschedule by sending an email to the zoo. Houston Restaurant Weeks has been extended through the end of September. It was supposed to end next week. It's the deal where you can get specially priced meals at participating restaurants, and part of the proceeds go to the Houston Food Bank. If you've never been to Houston Restaurant Weeks, I urge you to try it. Great meals at great prices at great restaurants. Alita.
I'm going to have to go and buy those baggy jeans. When you go to those, you won't feel as guilty. All right, I know many of you are wondering, okay, when are we finally going to get a break from this heat? Unfortunately, over the next 7 to 9 days, these temperature readings will be hovering just above normal for this time of year. 100 degrees today and tomorrow, and then we'll see those temperatures dropping back off the mid to upper 90s. Those mid 90s for Friday and Saturday will be in the response to the return of some wet weather and some clouds. But let me show you an outlook that the Climate Prediction Center has issued for next week. We're talking the 9th through the 15th. You're noticing this blue color here. This is a cold pool or cooler air that is going to be diving southward from Canada into the United States. And what we're seeing right now in our computer models, our global models are hinting that some of this cooler air, this dip in the trough, is going to be pushing into our area. So this heat that we've been enduring, we will get a break, not just from the heat, but also the humidity. And as that cooler air dives down, we're going to see those overnight lows possibly dropping into the upper 60s, low 70s across southeast Texas, meaning that afternoon temperatures won't be in the 70s, although we do have a couple models that are showing that. For now, we've gone into the upper 80s. So we are going to see a little bit of a reprieve here, hopefully, if these models are correct. When you talk about our confidence level 10 days out, I know it's on the low end, but each day, if these computer models continue to show that, obviously our confidence builds. So keep it right here. We're going to keep you informed, let you know if that changes. 84 degrees right now, Houston, 87 in Galveston. Confidence is high that the heat is going to resume. We've got a heat advisory intact beginning at 9 o'clock this morning through the evening hours. Triple-digit heat, not just here in Houston. Bastrop today, 103 in LaGrange. Showers and storms firing up to the north of our county and up toward the Oklahoma area. Now, a piece of this energy coming in from West Texas could clip some of our far northwestern counties as we get into the afternoon. But unfortunately, for most of today, those chances for rain are less than 20%. So make sure you take care of yourself, of course, your loved ones and your furry friends as we get into the afternoon and the peak heating of the day, guys.
Well, it's no surprise that the coronavirus pandemic has changed many of our lives. More parents are working from home, and now some kids are learning from home, too. ABC 13's digital producer, Brittany Wilmore, is live in the newsroom with some tips to help you out. Brittany, all of us are just trying to make it as best we can.
It's so true, and it's like you said, a lot of people are trying to balance these things, but they feel stressed out, feel like they aren't doing enough. Well, I'm here to tell you, you are doing a great job, and I have some tips for you from a child psychologist at the Cleveland Clinic Children's Hospital. So the first thing that they say to do is to set clear boundaries so that your children know when you're working, when it's okay to ask for a snack or help with an assignment. But you may feel like, oh my goodness, I have to get so much done. Well, Dr. Emily Mudd says don't feel bad about your productivity levels. Multitasking is hard with these new demands, so take breaks when you can and don't be too hard on yourself.
Have some forgiveness for yourself and be patient with yourself and your partner and your children, as these are all precedented times, and just try to find those moments of happiness to be with your family amongst the chaos.
She had another great tip too. She said that when kids are learning remotely, it's okay to let them sleep in so that you have more time to work. We will get these tips on abc13.com and inside the app so that you can check these out anytime, and please share them with anybody who needs them. Live in the newsroom, I'm Brittany Wilmore. Back to you.
Thank you, Brittany. Well, all this week, ABC 13 Plus is in Cyprus. And this morning, we want to introduce you to a family who has made it their mission to raise awareness for the very disease that robbed their daughter of her speech. Abby Wallace was diagnosed with Sanfilippo syndrome a few years back. It's a rare and deadly diagnosis that's also known as childhood Alzheimer's. Most patients diagnosed with it don't make it past their teens, but Abby defied the odds and turned 25 just a few weeks ago. The family has started a Facebook group called Abby's Alliance to raise awareness with the Cure Sanfilippo Foundation. If you would like to learn more about their incredible story and how their faith keeps them going, visit abc13.com/plus Cyprus.
Our ABC 13 Plus series is ready to celebrate Cyprus all week. Today, see the quarantine caterpillar. It's a neighborhood project that's made international headlines. And on Wednesday, we'll go back in time in a park in Cyprus. It's full of history, including a vintage dance hall and general store. Thursday, you'll meet the tutor paying it forward, a high school student who got perfect scores in the ACT and SAT, and she's helping others now. On Friday, we'll take you to a special place to work and introduce you to the high school student who created her own line of vegan makeup. More when we come back. Well, today marks 4 weeks since that deadly blast in Beirut, and it was apparently the final straw for much of the public. Thousands took to the streets demanding the government resign, and they did. Today, Parliament has designated a new prime minister, Mustafa Hadid. The French President Emmanuel Macron is also visiting. It is during that transfer of power. Today, Macron called on the international community to step in or risk yet another civil war in Lebanon if they don't help out. In Georgia, a baby is safely back in his mother's arms after he was kidnapped. And what's scarier, police say this wasn't the suspect's first attempt to take a child. Police say a man with a gun confronted that mother as she was walking her baby in a stroller. Investigators said the woman fought back, grabbed the guy's gun, tried to shoot him, but it didn't go off. And then another woman dressed as a man snatched her baby. Thankfully, they later found the baby safe, and those two suspects were arrested. We have learned that the couple also tried to steal the child from another mother.
They saw a mother walking down the street with a baby in a blanket on her back. And he jumped out with the gun and challenged her, and she ran so fast.
Police say when they finally got that baby back, the kidnappers had put him in a dress in an attempt to disguise him.
Well, Google is introducing a new family-friendly tablet mode called Kids Space. It recommends apps, books, and videos that can help your children play and learn. It's designed to be colorful and easy to navigate. Kids can even make their own avatar with outfits and backpacks. Kids Space will be available on Lenovo tablets first this fall, and then more Android apps later this year.
All right, 5:57, and let's talk to Alita about well, here's Doug Schertz, first in the newsroom. What's coming up next at 6?
Hey, good morning. At 6 o'clock, we're going to tell you about the latest in the mail-in ballot battle, and Harris County has become ground zero on that. Details of that to come. And have you heard about the bear that made it into the grocery store? Well, we're going to show it to you coming up at 6, but first, here's Alita Loresco with the forecast.
All right, thank you so much, Doug. Quick look at that forecast before you head out the door this morning. The roads are dry, mostly dry conditions on tap for today, less than a 20% chance for any sort of rain. 100% you're going to be sweating it out because we've got some dangerous heat once again with heat index values between 106 to 113. We've got some heat relief on the way. Details coming up.